Yo, what up, evil? It's Schizophrenic here for number 0 talks, episode 00 17. And today we're talking about stocks. Not as much bonds, mostly stocks. Okay, now listen up, guys. Okay, this video is basically a breakdown of my predictions for the stock market, the reason why the crash happened, and also what you should possibly do in the future to prepare if you're about 5 to 10 years away from retirement. Okay, now then, first off, some predictions. Okay, oil has fell over $21 a barrel, meaning that since the United States is a very major oil hub where the oil comes in and we export the gas and we use the gas, gasoline prices should rise this summer a little bit and then drop back down to being below $3 like it was in like the 2010s and a couple times rarely in the 2020s, rarely ever. The gas is gonna go down to like $3 a gallon for your car again, so that should be nice. Food, on the other hand, is gonna basically go into a sort of good era right now for the next couple of years, where the reduction will be kind of high. The farmers are gonna basically rake in somewhat in the positive, but not very much. But our green foods, like wheat for bread, and of course like lettuce and tomatoes and apples, the green foods are good. The foods that are healthy for you are basically gonna stay between about like maybe like $1.50 for some lettuce to like maybe like $6 for some watermelon and some exotic food. That's me in the summer. Okay, chemicals. Chemicals are taking a hit right now, but they're gonna bounce back up just a little bit from what they were now in a couple of years when AI integration comes into play. That basically means that the chemicals are no longer being made so much with humans, but more with AI and the precision that we can use to find new chemicals and create new experiments and test new chemicals and see what they can possibly do in a fictional space before we put it into actual technology, or should I say to technical use where we actually apply it. So chemicals are gonna take a small nosedive, but then once AI integration comes into play, or things are being done to like the nearest millionth of a decimal and beyond, the chemicals will basically rise back up and they'll hit a nice little level place. Okay, we talked about food, gas, and we talked about motherfucking chemicals. Now then, with the cosmetic side of chemicals, that stuff's gonna go up just a little bit, but then it's gonna fall down again because they're having too many chemical advances, except for fungus. And yeah, so cosmetics are a kind of safe bet because you won't make that much money, but you won't lose that much money either if it doesn't work out. Okay, then we got our meats. The meat prices are basically in summer gonna, in the best way I could describe it, they're gonna go up a little bit in some areas and they're gonna decrease in others. Chicken will possibly go up just a little bit. Wow, cow goes somewhat up, but steaks stay low. Milk will basically raise just a little tiny bit. But a lot of things that use dairy, like cheese, should balance themselves out, and they should go down to having a higher profit, especially with how things are going now. where all the errors of the early 2020s are basically being fixed in these warehouses that hold our meat supply. But yeah, chicken is gonna rise for a little bit, and then it's gonna fall down again, especially during summer when it's nice and warm and our chicken population gets replenished. And the cows will basically be making the milk or being put to slaughter for steak. So the meat industry is going to basically have what I like to call a couple years of leveling out. And then eventually with the chemical industry invading the meat industry to create artificial meats, which should be coming up in the next like 15 years, artificial meat. We should be able to see the meat industry rise a little bit because people will want to buy the real meat. That some people buy the fake meat and it'll taste just the same. Some might even be better. And that'll cause a nice stability around the world when it comes to food. Farming is on the rise now. It's farming season. All the farms are starting to reduce their foods for the next year. There'll probably be about 4 to 5 harvests this year instead of the average 3 or 4. There should be 5, possibly even 6 harvests because how much rain we're getting and natural rain and climate change. For most part, we're in the golden period of climate change where it's going to start helping our food production. Coffee is going to basically level out where it's going to, because there haven't been any new diseases with the cocoa bean. So coffee is going to basically stay around like $5 for a fucking gallon of the shit. And then, of course, we got water. Water's at about 35 cents right now currently for a bottle of 16 ounces. Fresh water, clean water. And I don't see that or paper prices rising that much above what it is now of like literally cents basically for paper. Coffee, on the hand, will basically somewhat, I should say, go up, but paper should be staying pretty low. Coffee could rise just a little bit though, not much. And it won't be anytime soon. It'll probably be in spring when coffee rises. Okay, and then of course we got crude oil, which I'm going to talk about for a minute. Crude oil is basically a nice spot right now where we're taking the money from the terror countries in like the Middle East and Russia. And so they could go into an economic decline and then they'll probably go to war with America. So war is probably coming. It'll be a quick war though, maybe like 5 or 6 years after it starts, sometime possibly this year, possibly next year. A war is kind of coming, but it's going to be mostly a Cold War II sort of era, where it's going to be the Cold War again, except for a much shorter period. And there shouldn't be much rationing, if any at all. Because right now, currently, the United States is doing its bombing run. And then it's probably planning a mobilized invasion of Iran to get them motherfuckers out of power. And what else I want to talk about with predictions? Tech. Tech is in a very weird place right now where it's going to be hard to make, but recycling is on the rise of the old parts so we can make into the new parts. So tech won't really see that much of a decline, but it will see somewhat of a decline until a major revolution is made, like fucking robots are basically out. Then tech will be up, and then tech will level out. Sciences, and the best way I can describe it, are going up because of AI. But the production of tech, like computer companies, is going to go down because China's basically currently right now holding on to 7 rare earth resources that are used for computer production and stuff like that in microchips. They're holding on to those rare earth metals because they don't want the prices to drop very low, so they then ban them from being traded for the time being, until the United States and China come to an agreement after China meets the United States demands or takes an even harder tariff that'll probably wreck their country a lot. Why the market crash happened? The market crash basically happened because it was around time for one to happen. One happened in the early 2010s, one happened in the middle 2000s, and now one is obviously happening in the middle 2020s. If you're young right now, it's a time for you to invest in stocks because you can watch those stocks rise and fall for the next possibly 40 to 20 years. And you'll be in a safe place because now that the interest rates are low, you can take small business loans, small personal loans at a much lower rate and be able to pay that quicker if you have an actual steady source of income. Or you can build on your house if you're in the middle class or middle age. You can build onto your house. Or if you're around that age, you can look at buying a house. Beware scams. Gotta say that. Gotta beware of who owns the deed because you don't want to be stuck on these deed wars. And then, of course, basically, the best way I could describe it, you wanna somewhat get a loan around now. If you had some plans to get a loan, so you're young, maybe using the stock market and use your job to pay off the loan. Because now's the time for the young people to basically invest in the low stocks. Some of the middle people and some of the higher up people to lose a good amount of money because they're already invested in the stocks. But the middle people have this comfort in knowing that their stocks can change unless they panic sell. And some rich people, some of the thousands of millionaires done became basically thousandaires today. From their Bitcoin scams that they used to get their initial funding, and now, yeah, that's going to go down to Bitcoin. I wouldn't recommend investing at all in Bitcoin. Ever. Or any Bitcoins. Those have basically been your addictions, and the stock market has basically crashed because of the tariffs. And the tariffs are used to cripple the economies of Iran and hundreds of other countries, forcing them to the negotiating table to renegotiate better deals that were made in the past decades for trade. Because it's been a long time, and those deals needed to be refurbished for the new times so that America can come on top a little bit and those countries will not fall into a recession. So for the next 2 basic weeks, the president is going to be having multiple meetings with many different countries, over 200 countries, around there to basically redo all of our trade deals so that they cannot go into recession and we can basically stay number one. What I will say though that is going to go down is oil. But it won't bounce back up until maybe around winter. But this summer, oil is going to be cheap. Oil is going to be really cheap. It says the United States is the biggest oil producer in the world, basically. When it comes to taking crude oil and turn it into gasoline and fuels that can be used for other things, America's going to basically come out on top with this trade war that's happening currently with China. Those are my predictions. Things could change. But for the most part, that's the stock market currently in 2025. And in 2026, this information will be useless. But currently, it's basically pretty good. The rare metals and ores will basically be on a decline. I gotta mention that. But they're gonna be held basically for a while until the market stabilizes again. Because they don't want to lose, some of these countries don't want to lose a lot of money. That's why they're getting into trade negotiations with the U.S. Currently, as I even speak can make this. And we're forming trade alliances for the possible Cold War II that's coming. Or that we're already basically in for the past like 6 months now. It's in Cold War II. Ever since Russia basically launched a nuclear weapon that didn't have a nuke in it as a precaution, saying that we will nuke if we have to. And that these missiles work. We've been into Cold War II. It isn't World War III yet. It's Cold War II. Have a good one. This is Skitsaphranicra for number 0 Talks. Episode 0017. Have a good one.